Suncoast off Anna Marie Island here in Bradenton, Florida. The sun sets and a cool night here at McKechnie Field, southern home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. As the Buccos take on the Baltimore Orioles, Grapefruit League action continues. Pirates and the Birds, the surprising Orioles last year. Here's Kyle McPherson, we said, battling Jeff Locke for the 5th spot in the rotation. John, his numbers last year at the big league level, made 3 starts, 2.73 ERA. Pirates really consider him, even if he doesn't win the spot in the rotation, very highly touted, I guess no longer prospect. But they expect big things from him, and a broken bat base hit to start the ball game for Alexi Casilla. Take a look at the Orioles lineup. Casilla singles to right. Ryan Flaherty will be coming to the plate, then Wilson Betemit, followed by Jason Pridey, Travis Ishikawa, and then Trayvon Robinson, Chris Dickerson in right, Jose Gill, and Xavier Avery. Not the 1971 Orioles.
No.
Or the 2012 Orioles.
Different lineup for Kyle McPherson, and you mentioned certainly on the radar, a big arm, Kyle McPherson. He's aggressive, he throws strikes, changes speeds. You see some pretty good movement on the fastball there. Really came out of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but was a bit of a surprise to see him get a few starts last year with the big league club after starting the year down in Altoona. But got pretty firm with the fastball, decent movement, good breaking ball, mixes in a change, and throws strikes. And I think that's most important. He'll come right at you.
Ryan Flaherty at the plate, and no doubt if you've been following the Pirates since spring training started up a couple of weeks ago, the game started, you've read or heard that they are paying a lot of attention to that running game. Pitchers varying their looks. A lot of throws over to first base. The catchers are throwing at times, in this case, behind batters. You've seen Michael McHenry throw to first base, and this ball is going to be trouble as Flaherty doubles to right field. Runner breaks for the plate and now heads back. Casilla was being waved home and then scrambled back. And the double by Flaherty.
Just the fastball left it up just a little bit. Wasn't a horrible location, not like it was down the middle, outer third of the plate, but when you leave it up around the thigh, that's what's going to happen. You're usually going to get pretty good wood on it. And there you see the runner Casilla hustling all the way around the very late stop sign. Put on the brakes, hustled back, but still a bit of a pickle early on here for McPherson and the Bucks.
A single and a double, and now Wilson Betemit, primarily their DH, starting at third base tonight for Buck Showalter's club. Ball one on Betemit. Last year's numbers for this switch hitter, Jason Pridey on deck. Kyle McPherson, 25 years old, his 3rd start of the spring tonight. This ball fouled off. Against the Astros here last Sunday, he gave up 4 runs in 2 2/3 on a couple of hits. He walked 3 and struck out a pair.
The unusual thing in that line, the walks. 3 walks in less than 3 innings. Not characteristic of McPherson. The hits, nothing spectacular. Really, the line is a lot worse looking than it really was if you were here. All the runs came in the 3rd inning.
McPherson, 25 years old, from Mobile, Alabama. He was a 14th round pick of the Pirates 6 years ago. Infield back, just underway here at McKechnie. And in the air to left for Tabata. Sets up for a throw, and he'll throw to third. And it's 1-0 on the sac fly by BAL AT PIT. You saw Tabata make the catch in left center. Now the Pirates stack up defensively. Starling Marte starting in left, of course, and center with Andrew McCutcheon, having started back-to-back games for the first time this spring. He will not play tonight. Jerry Sands in right. Pedro Alvarez, Clint Varmus on the left side of the infield. Neil Walker, Gabby Sanchez on the right, and Michael McHenry does the catching. Jose Tabata, you can see if this is your first look at Tabata, you might be pleasantly surprised to see the lighter-looking Tabata. Down 10 to 15 pounds, much better shape. Looked like from day one a determined player. I know, John, you were talking to Stan Savern a few moments ago about Tabata. You've been impressed.
Yeah, again, there's more urgency with Jose this spring, and obviously not happy with the way things went last year. Came in, he looked better in every facet. With a lighter body, nice to see him running a lot better, and see a good breaking ball here, a good curve ball from Kyle McPherson. Gets Pridey way out in front.
We brought the true center cam down with us from PNC Park. To McKechnie. Breaking ball missing in.
But Jose, with that lighter weight, that you see the foot speed we saw his rookie year. The bat has gotten a lot quicker. I think he really got exposed on the inner half of the plate last year. Part of the problems with his struggles.
And that's in the air to shallow left center. It's Tabata again. Varmus went out. 2 down. See Tabata get at least a couple of at-bats tonight, as McPherson hopes to go at least 3. McPherson had said in the first couple of starts this early in spring, just locating the fastball was his main goal, getting the 2-seamer in the zone, he said. Hoping to get a lot of swings on that. Not so much worried about the curveball his first 2 times out. Wanted to let the fastball and the 2-seamer take priority, as well as the changeup, before he really worried about the curveball. John, you figure that's kind of standard for these pitchers?
Typically,
yeah.
I mean, in his case, though, usually, a younger guy comes into camp fighting for a job. I mean, they're going to show you everything they have from the get-go.
Check swing, and that's a fair ball. And Alvarez, oh man, mid-season form for Pedro Alvarez. That's a pretty play. Beautiful. Nice finish. The top half of inning number 1. So the Orioles score in the top half of the first inning, and Clint Hurdle was put this lineup out there for tonight's game, the only night game of the spring at McKechnie for the Buccos, brought to you by Toyota. Starling Marte, we've talked a lot about Jose Tabata. He'll bat second, getting .313 this spring. Neil Walker bats third. Pedro Alvarez in the cleanup spot. Then it's Gabby Sanchez, Brandon Inge trying to win a job in camp, veteran. Jerry Sands in right, Michael McHenry and Clint Varmus. Wei-Yin Chen.
Lefty. Japanese left-hander, a pretty good season a year ago for Baltimore.
12-11, ERA just over 4, 193 innings. Walked 57, struck out 154, gave up 29 home runs. Buck Showalter to say that he and the Orioles surprised a lot of people, and many wonder if they aren't due for a bit of a setback. He says that's just fine for the experts to predict that. They won 93 games last year, 93 and 69.
Big surprise, I mean, especially we saw him down here last spring a handful of times, and it really didn't look like a very good ball club.
Marte 6 out of 17 this spring with a walk. Last year at 47 big league games at 257. One and one on the 24-year-old, native of Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic. Starling Marte's got all the tools. Was it last year or the year before, John, that he put on such a show in spring training? Showed us those 5 tools. Was it last spring?
Last spring. Very impressive. And again, I'm not comparing, but he reminded me the last spring of a young Vlad Guerrero. You know, kind of the same size-wise, the great arm, foot speed that Vlad Guerrero had when he was a youngster in Montreal. The aggressive swing, that's the one thing with Marte that you wonder in that leadoff spot, can he be more patient? Can he draw more walks? Can he not go out of the strike zone as often? Kind of Vlad Guerrero-like.
Which is interesting, because if that's the type of player he has been his whole career, you almost hate to change him all that much. I mean, that's just his style.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of bad ball hitters. You mentioned Guerrero, and veteran Pirate fans remember Manny Sanguillen, even Roberto Clemente, as he takes a close pitch there.
And yeah, that's where you wondered, does he mature into the middle lineup hitter? Does he hit maybe 3? Does he hit 5 or 6? He may be better suited there. But then if you're going out of the strike zone and getting hits and hitting 340 like Vlad Guerrero, it's not so bad at the top.
A patient Starling Marte. 3-2. Last spring training, look at that, 520. Stellar defense, showed off the arm.
Wiry, strong.
That is hit hard. As Myrtle likes to say, get up there and swing the bat with bad intentions. An 8-pitch at bat for Starling Marte.
Got a good bit of fastballs from Chen as well. This one left up over the heart of the plate. And you mentioned Chen with all the home runs allowed last year. For one, he does play in a smaller yard, a division that gives up a lot of home runs. But he's more of a fly ball pitcher than a ground ball pitcher, which is even more impressive to me to see the kind of year he had with that ERA right around 4 in that division. And it faded a little bit down the stretch last couple of months as the innings crept up. But he likes to throw the fastball. He changes speeds with his fastball. He'll sink it a little bit. His best secondary pitch, probably the changeup. As you saw in the Marte at bat, also flips a curveball.
Pirates have stolen 4 bases in 10 tries this spring. And there goes Marte, got a good jump. And showing off again part of his game. And He'll take advantage of the throw, getting past the 2 middle infielders.
Well, you like to see it. Make things happen on the base pass. And tip your cap to Jose Tabata, who took a fastball right down the middle so he can hit with runners and score with a runner in scoring position. The big jump from Marte, no hesitation once he saw the ball get by. Look at the pitch, right down the middle. A lot of hitters are swinging the bat in that situation, but Jose being unselfish in the 2-hole.
There on the catcher, Gill, as Tabata hits one in the air deep enough to tie this one. Marte will tag and score without a throw. 1-1. Boy, well done.
Very well done. You never know. Jose up there, if he's hacking fouls that pitch off, there's a runner on first with 1 out. Instead, another fastball up, out over the plate, missing with the location was Chen. And Jose gets the ball out of the infield. Routine. RBI. Sac fly.
Neil Walker, just 11 at-bats this spring. With the World Baseball Classic creating a longer camp in Florida and in Arizona for big league clubs, managers like Clint Hurdle have decided, understandably so, to really rest the starters and veterans early the first couple of weeks. So not a shocker that Walker, for example, has just 11 at-bats. Now he said he's going to start to slowly have them play a little bit more in each game and start back-to-back games. 1 ball, 2 strikes. With 1 away.
I bet if you talk to most of the players, especially position players at this point in spring, they might think another week they're ready to go. Spring training, it can get long. Every day's pretty much the same. You get down here and you're just doing workouts. Can't wait till the games start. When the games start, after about a week, 10 days of games, you're ready to turn it up a notch and head north.
Walker down on strikes. 2 outs. And Walker feels good. That back no longer a problem for him.
I like Neil Walker too as a switch hitter. You need to start getting at bats, especially I'm sure Clint Hurdle will try to get him more at bats right-handed. Fewer opportunities to hit right-handed for the switch hitters.
Alvarez with 14 at bats, 1 for 14, a couple of strikeouts. His numbers last year, his first full season in the big leagues, 26 years old. 30 home run season for Alvarez. And you look at his rankings, his ranking among third basemen. Brought to you by Barrel Automotive, league leader stat. Looking at last season's leaders in homers among third basemen, only Chase Headley of the Padres had more in the National League than Pedro. Barrel Automotive, we're driven to be better. Got him looking. Pirates tie it up. Marte single, the steal, the error on the catcher, and the sac fly by Tabata. 1 inning complete, 1-1 at McKechnie and Bradenton. The second inning here at McKechnie Field, newly renovated McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. Robbie Intzmakowski, new member of our telecast this year, and Robbie is somewhere in this beautiful ballpark. Robbie?
Greg, I am. I'm in left field, and I'm standing right above this scoreboard, which has been relocated and reset into the wall here in left field. And behind me are some newly shaded seats that were added here. So if you want to come out here during a day game and avoid the sun a little bit, you can. 570 shaded seats added here. During the renovation, a total of 3,500 plus shaded seats are here at McKechnie Field. And if you go all the way to the left, there's a left field party deck right there, which includes a lot of high-end catering. So if you want to bring a group here, hang out, and give them some good food, it's a great place to congregate and watch a little baseball. And we'll be bringing you all the new renovations and all the new spots here throughout the game tonight, Greg.
Robbie, it's fun. You know, they had the major renovation in 1993, and it really needed it, the first major renovation. John, I can speak for you, and that was needed. But this transforms this ballpark. This is big leagues.
No question about it. You're seeing the spring training sites, the fields, they're getting bigger. You know, you're starting to see the wraparound seating around the outfield and everything else like that. But I mean, this is very unique in an older ballpark to make it look so modern. Great experience for the fans. It's always been a great place to watch baseball. You're close to the action, but beyond the fences, it just looked like nothing forever. And now it's really completed McKechnie Field here.
We have already spoken to so many Pittsburghers, Pirate fans from really all over the country that were here previously and getting a chance to see the new boardwalk, that 360 experience. Robbie talked about those seats out in left field, the Kona bar, the Tiki bar out in right center, picnic areas. Strike three called. Trayvon Robinson is retired. First K for Kyle McPherson.
Boy, the breaking ball really looking sharp for a pitch that he hasn't thrown very much this spring. And he's thrown it for a strike. He's thrown it to try to get a swing out of the zone. He's had great command of it. And it looks a little different than last year. Last year it looked more like a hard slider, not as much, not as big a break. It looked more, slurvy. That's almost like a true curveball that he really seems to have a good feel for.
Popped up, shallow center field, and will drop between Barmas and Marte. Chris Dickerson tries to win a job in camp.
We always talk about the wind here in Florida. Typically here at McKechnie, it's blowing out. Tonight, blowing in, and that helped Dickerson as that ball couldn't get out the Starling Marte.
Jose Gill. Gill, long time member of the Yankees minor league system. Matt Wieters, of course, will be their starter once again, the Gold Glove catcher. Oh, 1 on Jose Gill. There goes the runner from first, and Henry can't get a handle. So the steal for Dickerson. That's 11 for the opposition this spring. 14 tries.
You see a pretty good jump. McPherson not too terribly slow to the plate. I think Henry would have had a shot if he could have made a clean exchange.
And popped up by Gill. The second baseman Walker. That's the second out. And that brings up Xavier Avery, the runner at second and 2 outs in the second. Well, what's to look forward to in terms of the Pirates starting staff? The locks, of course, Burnett, McDonald, Wandy Rodriguez. Lock, not a lock, McPherson. Karstens probably put him in that lock category. He threw a couple of innings simulated game today against some Pirate minor leaguers, 34 pitches. I really think the Pirates are just being extra cautious with him and getting him ready for April and the start of the season. Strikers called on Jose Gil.
Names you saw on the possibility, Genmar Gomez struggling early on this spring. Andy Oliver, a big left-hander with a world of talent, big left-handed arm. That's had some issues as far as control issues. Throws more strikes. He's a very interesting prospect.
McPherson, meantime, getting his third start of the spring. Enters this year as Baseball America's 7th best Pittsburgh prospect. Throws that one past Avery. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for McPherson. It's 1-1.
Baseball on Root Sports. I'm Robbie Mikowski, and over here to my left, just a few steps, is the first baseline. And right here is the new enhanced fan plaza with a lot of palm trees added, more concession stands, more points of sale, more restrooms. All that equals less lines and less waiting. They got a couple chairs to hang out, some beanbag toss, some fresh grass. It's a good time over here to come over if you want to grab a bite to eat. Grab a beverage, Greg. It's a cool place to just get away for just a couple moments.
Oh, that sounds good, Robbie. Thanks very much. Check back in with Robbie as he gives us a tour of McKechnie Field and what a great yard this has been for many years, and certainly has been enhanced as Gabby Sanchez steps to the plate. He's enjoying a solid spring, 5 for 15, couple of homers. Feels like he's healthy, has his legs under him. You've been impressed by him, I know, John.
Oh, the swing is just so much shorter and quicker than when we got him at the All-Star or at the trading deadline. It just, I thought he had a little bit of a problem getting the fastball in. Well, he hasn't had that problem this spring. He's turning on the ball, looks strong.
He's hit a couple of missiles over
the
left field wall.
I guess I should have did more research, Greg, but you may know the answer to this. Can you wander about? If you just get a general admission seat, can you walk?
Yes, you can.
All around the boardwalk?
360 experience.
Yeah, I mean, that is really neat. Because, boy, what a view from out on that boardwalk. And, just lean up against the railing and take in the ball game.
Well, that batter's eye is actually a building now. You can walk through it. There's restroom facilities and some concession areas. Of course, the bullpens used to be beyond the left and right field seats as Gabby Sanchez draws the walk. Now the bullpens are behind the fences. And as Robbie showed you, the new wider concourse. So no lines at the concession areas. And that's due in large part because they took the batting cages and repositioned them out beyond the right center field wall.
That's a nice facility. Jay Bell, certainly a big fan.
Speaking of Jay Bell, the former Bucco shortstop, we're going to talk to him at the top of this third inning. Brandon Inge signed a minor league free agent deal, non-roster player in camp. Trying to make his way back from shoulder surgery.
There were only 2 cages over along the first base side until this renovation. And when you figure you have 60 guys in camp, and pitchers work on their bunting almost on a daily basis, and obviously the hitters want to get as many swings in, there just wasn't a whole lot of room to get the work in necessary to prepare for the season.
Inge dribbles this ball foul. He is 3 for 12 with a walk and 4 strikeouts in this spring. Brad Hopp, another veteran in camp, is 2 for 17. Two and two.
I'm sure Clint Hurdle would love to see one of these veteran guys prove that they still can be successful at the big league level. There's nothing like having a veteran presence off the bench that could come in and the big situations late in the ball game, whether to catch up or get back into a game or to extend the lead.
One hop shot to the third baseman Betamit, and a wide throw pulls the middle infielder Flaherty off the bag, so everybody is safe. E5.
Boy, a tailor-made double play ball hit extremely hard. Betamit trying to be too quick on that throw to the second baseman Flaherty. And he had all day, did Betamit. He could have taken an extra step, but another opportunity here for the Bucks.
A lot of non-starters playing for these Orioles. Manny Machado, a rookie last year, will be their starting third baseman this season as Jerry Sands swings and misses. Sands 3 out of 15 this spring. One of the players acquired in the Joel Hanrahan deal.
You see the numbers not that impressive. A limited action a year ago at the big league level, but at the minor league level, pretty impressive.
AAA Albuquerque with the Dodgers last year. 296, 26 homers, 107 runs batted in.
And the Pacific Coast League, you'll see some gaudy numbers, especially at a place like Albuquerque, kind of like Denver with the high altitude ball carries. But 100 RBIs is 100 RBIs. You figure they play 20-some fewer games at the big league level, so pretty nice year.
1-2 on Jerry Sands. 27-year-old Taiwanese left-hander Wei Yin Chen facing Jerry Sands from Middletown, New York. No one out. A 1-2 count. McHenry to follow. And a 2-2 count now on Jerry Sands. Pirates made that trade December 26th with Boston. Sands, meanwhile, came to Boston, part of that blockbuster deal involving Carl Crawford. Strike 3 called. Adrian Gonzalez went to the Dodgers. Nick Punto. Well, we invite you to book your 2013 Pirate season ticket package. Full season plans start as low as $1,000 in the lower bowl. Partial season plans also available. Become a season ticket holder, get all the perks, meet and greets with players, take batting practice in the cages at PNC Park, and more exclusive events all year long. Call 1-800-BUY-BUCKS or visit pirates.com/season tickets and order your plan right now. Speaking of season tickets, we invite you to take advantage tomorrow at PNC Park. An open house from noon until 4 p.m. So if you're thinking about season tickets, want to make your plans to stop by PNC Park tomorrow. The open house noon to 4. Pirate ticket sales reps will be on hand, show you seats that are available for purchase. So explain the various ticket plans that are offered, highlight some of the benefits of a season ticket holder. Some great ticket plans designed to meet your needs and your budget. Stop by PNC Park tomorrow. See how you can guarantee your tickets for all the big games this coming season. Noon to 4, PNC Park open house. Michael McHenry, count of 0-2. And he's caught looking, and he knew it. Back-to-back Ks for Chen after the walk in the air. It's 4 Ks for Chen.
Chen, you see the velocity hasn't been that great. Right around 90 mile per hour for the most part. Has some late movement and must have some sneakiness to it. Michael McHenry knew it. The fastball surprised him a bit.
Now Clint Barmas, 2 for 10 with a home run this spring. Chen will join Jason Hamill, Chris Tillman, Brian Mattis, Miguel Gonzalez, part of the rotation for the Orioles. On 1 on Barmas, 2 on, 2 out. Barmas hit .229 his first year with the Buccos. Had a much better second half. Oh, 2. Last year, Barmas hit .257 after the All-Star break. And towards center field, Avery is there, makes the catch. Talk to Jay Bell, the new Pirates hitting coach, coming up next. tied at 1. And Alexi Casilla will lead things off. He started the ball game with a base hit to right off Kyle McPherson. He scored on a sacrifice fly by Wilson Bettamy. Trying to get Jay Bell hooked up. I don't think he can hear us just yet. I know he's got his headset on. We'll talk to Jay Bell momentarily. Ryan Flaherty on deck. McPherson's third inning of work. Seven years with the Twins, Alexi Casilla. Hit .241 last year. And he is hit by the pitch. Casilla stole 21 bases, caught just one time last year. He used to be a backup middle infielder.
Looked like that ball just kind of stayed in McPherson's hand, just kind of cut across.
There's Ryan Flaherty. I think we have Jay Bell. Jay?
I'm down here, Greg.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
It is great to have Jay Bell back. What's it like being back in that Bucco uniform, Jay?
Well, I tell you what, it's a blast to be able to put the black and gold back on. It is it's a huge thrill for me. And whenever I called Laura and asked her if it was okay for me to go ahead and accept the job, she said absolutely. So, you know, what's really cool about it is the fact that we both grew up as a married couple there. We raised a family there, and it's awfully nice to go back home.
Jay Bell with the Pirates from 1989 through 1996, fourth on the all-time games played list among shortstops in Pirates history, behind Hannes Wagner, Archie Vaughn, and Dick Grote, and now the hitting coach of the Pirates. So he's back home in black and gold, and I imagine a lot of work, Jay, especially early on with all these players in camp.
I tell you what, Greg, it has been an absolute pleasure to work with these guys. They're a good group of guys. They've listened. They've done their best to apply the stuff that I'm preaching to them. I'm selling snake oil, and they've bought in. So it's been really nice. You know, so of course you hate to see a first and second base with no out squandered, but at the same time, these guys are working on a lot of things. They're working on zone discipline, and they're doing a great job.
Now, Jay, how much as you come here, obviously you're learning a whole new team, a ton of different players. It's nice to have a nice facility here, by the way. I'm sure the upgrades, especially your hitting cages out there in right center field, going to be nice. But how much of your teaching is mechanical, and how much is between the ears?
Well, I tell you what, I'll go ahead and hit the first point, or your second. I'm not sure which one, Rock. Whichever, I don't know which place you put that in, but this is a great facility. I tell you what, it is. You know, it has been 17 years since I was here last, and to see what it has become is just marvelous, and so it is great. You know, the stuff, just to answer your question about the mental is versus physical. I do talk about physical from time to time, but that is not my primary objective. Most of the guys that are on the 40-man roster are invited to camp. They are quality big league or close to big league hitters. They've made it to the 40-man roster because they can swing the bat a little bit. And so really what I want to do is I want to make sure that I help them understand how to beat that guy out there on the mound mentally every single day. It's not going to be, you're not going to feel 100%. There are going to be times where you know, you have an opportunity to figure out how to beat a guy even whenever you don't feel 100%.
Stolen base there for Casilla.
You know, another thing about you, Jay, that I think is interesting, that, you know, early on in your career with the Pirates, you know, more of a fundamentally sound player. You know, you bunt, I don't know, you probably have the record for bunts, sacks in a season, and you kind of evolved into a bit of a power hitter. And so I know the little things mean a lot to you as well. And is that something I'm sure you're going to incorporate here as far as the fundamentals, not just as far as hitting, but I'm assuming defensively, base running? I mean, are you going to help and many different areas other than hitting?
Well, certainly that's not my area. The defensive stuff and the base running stuff. That's Nick and Soph's area. But nonetheless, I mean, from the standpoint of the little things, I do stress that with the guys. One of the things that like a bunt situation. If there's a bunt situation that comes up, I want them to be able to do it. I don't care who it is in the order. If it's Gabby, or if it's Garrett, or whoever it may be. I want them to be able to get down. If it's the 7th game of the World Series, and we need our number 4 hole hitter to get a bunt down, we need them to get it down. And so we've talked about it. Fundamentally, they've all done a pretty good job at getting themselves ready. We get 5 or 6 or 7 guys out there on the backfield and let them figure out the fundamentals of bunting and something I'm going to try and get them to do all year. One of the things that I believe that it's important. And I think Leland taught me this a long time ago, and as well as Milt May and Tommy Sand even. They told me, he said, listen, do your best, figure out how to help your team win every single night. I don't care how it is. It doesn't matter whether you get hits or not. Just figure out how to get the job done.
So Jay, you think you can teach bunting?
Oh, I can definitely teach that. I can teach that over hitting. There's no doubt about that.
Well, that's great news. I mean, really, that's great. That's great. You're so confident in that, because there's some people believe that once you get to the big leagues, if you can't bunt, you can't bunt.
No, I tell you what. The fun thing about it is, I had an opportunity to get with the pitchers early on in spring training. They bought into it, and they've done a really good job. So it's something we're gonna continue to work on. We're gonna stress. It's when Clint wants the bunt done, or he wants to put it on. He wants the bunt done properly. It's his big thing is it's not okay just to be okay, and we're gonna do our very best not to just be okay at the little things. We're gonna be hopefully we will be very, very solid at the little things, and those little things, they add up. They add up to a lot of victories.
I'm sure you feel like you can help everybody when the season starts at 25 men, but are there one or two players in particular that you are especially excited about working with?
Well, I tell you what, I look at, they're all terrific guys. They really are. I'm excited about working with Clint Barmas a lot. I really believe that Clint's going to have a big year. I believe that between the ages of 31 and 34, I think that there's a chance that you can have your best years. It's you're supposed to be, mentally at the top of your game, and your physical may be going down a little bit, but he should be able to pick up and do a little bit better than he did last year. But he's such a great guy. He's bought into it, and it's been a joy to work with him. I love working with Gabby Sanchez. Petey has been enjoyable to work with. Kutch had a great year. I don't have to mess with him a whole bunch. I'm going to just let him be until he comes to me and asks. Neil's been great. I mean, just a whole group of guys have really worked to make the transition to getting better, to be more productive.
Greg, we were talking about, or Greg and I were talking about this earlier, Jay, about Starling Marte. Now, here's a guy that's obviously has a ton of talent. He's gotten to the big league level with his aggression. He has some power. He can hit for average, but he's also a free swinger.
Absolutely.
He's penciled in to be a top of the lineup guy. Now, how do you approach a guy like him that is used to swinging the bat instead of watching pitches go by? Yeah,
there's going to be a time. He has to have some game recognition. He has to know what he's got to do in that leadoff spot. There's no doubt about that. But one of the things I talked to him about, I said, hitting is violent. There's no doubt about it. It is a violent act, and the key to that act is being controlled while being violent. And so it's not just violent and out of control. It's violent with control. And so one of the things I've been preaching to the guys this spring, and they've done a pretty good job at it, is controlling that. I call it 11 by 16 area. You can't control. The plate is 17 inches wide. The strike zone is about 2 feet tall. You can't. I don't care who you are. There's not one person that's ever played this game that's been able to control that entire strike zone. So, that being the case, I want you to make sure that you control the area of the plate that you can control, and that's about 11 by 16. And that's a relative number. That's just a number that I came up with. But when you talk about 11 inches, you talk about the size of the bat barrel, and you can control about half the strike zone. That's or just a tick more than half the strike zone up to down. So if you're an up hitter, if you're a tall hitter, look for a pitch up, to the top of the zone. If you're a down hitter, look to the top of that particular zone, which is about belt high. So if you're prepared for that fastball up there, then whenever it drops down just a little bit more, you should be able to hammer it theoretically.
Talking with Jay Bell, you saw the swing, the backswing of Betamit, whacked McHenry on the mask, and then caught looking the breaking ball from McPherson. Jay Bell, new hitting coach this season, and working with Jeff Branson. Jay, how is that going to work? He's going to be kind of your assistant. Branson had been in the Pirates minor leagues for a handful of years as a hitting coach. So what's that going to be like? It
is going to be phenomenal. Jeff and I have known each other a long, long time. Of course, the days going back to his Cincinnati days when we first got to the big leagues. I was in Pittsburgh, and so we had a lot of nice battles with the Reds. You know that, back then, and so he's a guy that I've always had a lot of respect for. He's a guy that is extremely good at. We grew up in the same era, so we understand this. We speak the same lingo, and we've just enjoyed. We spent, as a hitting coach, you spend hours and hours and hours down in that cage, so you have a lot of time to talk and to get your points across and to one another, and so it's just we're just feeding ideas back and forth to one another. I tell you what, it has been so much fun, so pleasurable to work with him, and matter of fact, this whole coaching staff is great. Clint, I believe, is a great leader. There's no doubt about it. I think he does a phenomenal job with in leading the guys and making sure that he knows they know exactly what we want.
Base hit scores the run. Base hit by Pridey brings home Casilla. So you're fired up about the staff too, and having known some of these guys for a number of years, and
right.
To come back to this organization, Jay, when it seems like we've been talking the last couple years, it's almost like the 88, 89 teams we've been watching and hoping this is the 90 team, and you were part of that,
right?
Getting better and better, and it's still early in your new career as a Pirates hitting coach.
Right.
What have you seen?
Yeah, it is. It's very similar to that, Greg. At least hopefully it is. These guys are learning. They're growing. They're really young players. They've got. Whenever you look at the service time, you see guys that other than Brandon Inge and Brad Hopp, those two guys have a lot of service time. They had over 10 years of service time, but. Whenever you go down from there, it's Clint Barmas with right at 7 years or so, and who's the other one? Maybe Garrett or somebody.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Then everybody else has, 3 plus or less, and so they're really young, and it's but young and talented. That's what's so exciting, and that's why I'm trying to make it as simple as I possibly can. Allow them to utilize their athleticism, and make this game as simple as they possibly can. At this level, talent doesn't beat the other guy. Your mind beats the other guy, and so if they can just take their talent, utilize that, and then just exploit what they learn, man, it should be extremely exciting.
Jay, I was a bit shocked. I'm sure a lot of folks in the Pittsburgh area were shocked when you were named the hitting coach. I mean, we knew you were down in Arizona for a bit and helping out down there. You were the hitting coach for was it the New Zealand team?
No, well, I'll go back. Yes, I was. That's exactly right, Rock. But after I got through playing, I took a year off. Then I was bench coach for 2 years in Arizona. Found that I was.
That's going to score at least one, as Marte will get the ball in, and they'll actually hold the second runner. A double for Ishikawa. So, Jay, how did you end up back here?
All right. Anyway, ended up taking 5 years off. Felt like that I owed it to Laura and the kids to be home, and then coached Team USA for a couple years. Really fell in love with the game all over again, and asked Laura if she'd have a problem with me getting back in, and she said no. So I went to AA last year and had a blast doing that. Was in the Southern League. We ended up with former Bucko Turner Ward, and we just had a great time together, and ended up winning the championship down there. And got a call from Mike Bell this winter and told me that I was going to be the AAA hitting coach, and it sounded great. And got a call soon thereafter about going to New Zealand, being the bench coach for that team. And next thing I know, I got a phone call from Clint and asked me to come in to interview for the job, and went and spent about 3.5 hours with Clint, and Neil, and Kyle Stark, and had a great visit with them. And about 5 days after I got over to New Zealand, found out that they wanted me to be their hitting coach. So it was just kind of a whirlwind. I got over there and just had a blast over there, but really wanted to be back in the States so I could start getting to know the guys. Jimmy T sent me some bios on all the guys and stats on all the guys from last year, and got to know them a little bit from afar. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot of fun, though.
Talking about fun, what fun we're going to have this year watching Jay Bell back in a Bucko uniform. Jay, thanks for spending some time with us. You don't mind if we ask you this again to stop by now and again, do you?
No, that'd be all right. I'd prefer to do it before the game, though. That'd be even better.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, guys.
Ripped into right. And McPherson got the visit from Ray Searage. And you saw Chris Johnson loosening in the bullpen. And so McPherson probably approaching a pitch count. Doesn't look as though he's going to get out of this third inning. Got some hard hit balls against him here. It's a 4-1 lead for Baltimore.
Yeah, I think he's coming right at Robinson here with a fastball. Catches a lot of plate. And he was sitting on it, turned on it. Jerry Sands with a short throw to the cutoff man, Gabby Sanchez.
So McPherson running into some trouble here after looking fairly sharp that second inning. A base hit, a walk, a strikeout, and RBI single, double, base hit to right. Chris Dickerson takes a strike from McPherson. It's wild to see Jay Bell back, though, isn't it?
That's awesome.
Your former teammate.
Yeah.
You see a little bit of Barmas in Bell, a little bit of Bell and Barmas, I should say.
Yeah, I mean,
solid defensively.
Very solid defensively. Cares probably more about the defense and the little things than he does the batting average, but that doesn't mean he doesn't want to become a good offensive player. And he certainly showed that he's capable of it in the second half a year ago. And I think what Jay is going to bring is that the calming influence. And let's not overthink things. Let's just keep it simple. Let's have a strong mental approach.
Runner goes from first, and now Pedro Alvarez has the man caught between home and third as McPherson covers home plate, and he'll make the tag with Sanchez right next to him. So Ishikawa is thrown out. They had Trayvon Robinson running on the play.
Good heads-up play there by Pedro Alvarez with the runner going. No chance of turning two, so had plenty of time. The runner did the right thing. Ishikawa, you want to stay out of the double play, so you're breaking on the ball on the ground. And that rundown has been practiced a lot the last couple of weeks down here in spring training. Little fundamental things.
Two outs for Jose Gil, the catcher.
You saw there as we had that ISO on Pedro putting on signs with 2 on 2 out. You typically don't see the third baseman or anybody really putting on defensive signs, and what he's doing is basically telling the rest of the infielders whether or not he's covering in case of a double steal. Obviously you don't want more than one guy getting out of position if there is a throw.
That snap throw to first base we talked about, no question that is something that the Pirates are going to employ this year. Those catchers throwing behind runners.
And just to add to that, Pedro putting on the signs now, if the runners were to choose to go in a double steal situation, You know, he may be telling him, I'm going to cover, which would mean the middle infielders would stay at home. If he's not going to cover, say you have a slower runner at first, maybe a second baseman would cover second. We try to get the out there.
Javi Sanchez gets the out. 3-run score. And it's 4-1 Baltimore.
On Root Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. Let's go Bucks!
By the Kona bar, right center field. New look of McKechnie. First and only night game at McKechnie Field this spring. Of course, the Bradenton Marauders play a lot of night games. The Florida State League High A ball club. Starling Marte leads off. Marte played here in Bradenton as a Marauder in 2010. Playing center field, and Andrew McCutcheon not playing today. Instead, he's doing some camera work. He is doing it all. He's a busy guy. Andrew McCutcheon down the right field line. Yeah, I know you hear us, Cutch. You're doing nice work. We're going to go to your camera, so you be ready. There it is. That's terrible, Andrew.
Zoom in.
Can you zoom in? See if McCutcheon can do it all. Hey, can you focus? Hey, look at this. How about that? Doug Johnson calling the game as our director in the truck. Will be going to that right field Cutch cam. No, it's low first. I'm sorry, it's low first. The Cutch cam. Now I wonder, I'm serious, do you think that Doug Johnson he's able to hear? I guess he is. Hearing the director call, he's got the headset on.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Look at this. At the dugout. Very nice. Andrew McCutcheon working the lower first camera. Taking a close-up look at some of the players. Yes, he really can do it all. Focusing in on the Mellon O'Brien Housen there. Trainer in Indianapolis as Marte draws the walk.
Yeah, I'm sure it wouldn't take him long to figure it out. Andrew.
Yep.
post-career job.
I'd say it is pretty impressive. He's making it look easy. Tight. Almost got a piece of Tabata. Busy offseason for Andrew McCutchen, wasn't it?
Oh, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how many miles he put in. The frequent flyer miles had to be up there a bit. I'll tell you what, though. I mean, we had that opportunity to go with him on the Caravan. I mean, what a great job he does, you know, and the thousands of autographs.
He did do a great job. I wish he weren't listening. He's going to make it like we're really talking him up. We would do that even if he couldn't hear us. And he was great on the Caravan and did PR tours all over the country. This ball's popped up toward McCutchen.
Where's McCutchen? Where's that camera?
Yeah.
He did not follow the action.
Nope. He missed it. He could not carry the foul ball. He tried. In a moment, we're going to show you a little bit of what Andrew McCutchen went through this winter, how busy he was. There's Dapper Dan Man of the Year award up in Pittsburgh. Cover of MLB The Show.
Gold glove.
Glove, Silver Slugger. Two and two on Tabata. Tabata sacrifice fly to right in the first, brought home Marte. Five for 16 this spring, a .313 average. And 3 and 2. Wei-Yin Chen's third inning. Oh, that's the Kutch cam. He does have it down now. He's got it focused. And now if the ball's put in play, he's supposed to stay with the batter. We're just giving him a hint. When you're running that lower first camera, his job is to follow the batter once the ball's in play. See if the Kutch cam can do that. Let's hope Tabata puts the ball in play. Hit one down the line. He could run for a while down the line and left. Popped up. Back to first. Marte. One away. Let's get a replay and see how Andrew did there on that ball that was popped up. Was he able to follow Tabata, the job of the lower first cameraman? And, well, not great. We'll give him a D on that one. He's going to improve. Let's take a look at some of Andrew McCutchen's off-season as he'll follow the pitcher going off. Andrew McCutchen, Dapper Dan Award winner in Pittsburgh. And the photo shoot for MLB The Show was in New York. Photo shoot at PNC Park. Just a couple of stops. Whirlwind tour for Andrew McCutchen. And now he's a cameraman. Getting good grades from the folks in the truck. They're saying he's actually doing extremely well. See what the shot looks like. He's got Hunter down, the new pitcher. Tommy Hunter follows Wei-Yin Chen, who goes 2 1/3. That's difficult. The cameraman has to frame the pitcher more toward the left side of his camera so that we can put that graphic in on the right side. So that's not bad.
On the job training.
Yep. Yeah. Thumbs up, Andrew. There's Tommy Hunter now. In relief of Wei-Yin Chen.
Hard thrower, Tommy Hunter. That fastball up in the mid-90s.
Neil Walker to the plate. Walker struck out in the first. There goes Marte. And he's in there. Swung past the attempted tag at Casilla. His second steal.
You love to see it. Marte didn't even have the greatest jump. Hunter a bit deliberate towards the plate. Marte plenty of speed. Easily beating that throw.
Now time called. Gill going to talk to Tommy Hunter. Out of 1-0 on Walker.
Obviously didn't go through the signs, what signs they're going to use with the runner on second base.
Walker now batting from the left side. His first at bat as a right-hand hitter against Wei-Yin Chen. Struck out. On a strike on Neil Walker. He and Andrew McCutchen and Pedro Alvarez. And one of the Pirates' up-and-coming prospects, Josh Bell, spent a lot of time down at the IMG Academy here in Bradenton working out this winter. Walker anxious to put a full healthy season together. After missing 27 of the last 35 games last year because of lower back problems. Down on strikes. 2 outs. Brings up Pedro Alvarez on a new edition of Inside Pirates Baseball. We take you behind the scenes of Pirates spring training. We take the field with the Bucks. Here, Clint Hurdle mic'd up during workouts and much, much more. Inside Pirates Baseball spring training presented by Allegheny Sports Medicine tomorrow at noon on Root Sports. It's before our telecast tomorrow, back-to-back Pirates spring training games here on Root Sports. Tomorrow afternoon, we're right back at it against the Twins. A.J. Burnett will go for the Bucks. Ripped. Absolutely ripped to right field. Scoring Marte easily.
That sound, that loud crack of the bat, Pedro Alvarez. You know, he probably thought it wasn't fair. He stepped in against his hard-throwing right-hander, got a first-pitch curveball for a strike, and then the heat, 96 miles per hour. Pedro, whack. He was ready for it. Turned it around.
Listen to that. Gabby Sanchez walked in the second. We'll get down to that catch cam on occasion. I don't think he was able to follow Pedro's still working on that. Again, as that cameraman, he's supposed to follow the hitter all the way. Ball, 1 strike on Gabby Sanchez. Walked in the second. There it is. Zooming in. Let's keep it here for a pitch. Nicely done.
He kept it good and steady, didn't he?
He liked it. He liked it. Yeah. This is easy, he says. Piece of cake. 2-1.
Andrew, come up here, fill in for a couple innings if you want.
Yeah, do that.
Just talking.
3-1 on Gabby Sanchez with 2 outs. Puck's down a couple, 3rd inning. Three and 2. I think Travis Snyder is down there next to Andrew McCutcheon, and maybe Travis can give us a better idea of how McCutcheon is doing on that Cutch cam. We'll have to open up that mic here in a moment. Working on that, Travis. Hold on 1 second. How about Travis now?
Check.
There you are. Yep, you got it. What do you got for us down there? What do you think?
I think we're making adjustments. We started off slow, couldn't figure out how to zoom in, but we're getting it going.
Does he think he's doing a good job?
I think he's doing all right. I think we're getting better every pitch, and that's all we can focus on, right?
That's a fly ball to right. Gabby Sanchez flies out to right field. The Cutch cam and his associate cameraman Travis Snyder working on this spring training game. 4-2, Bucks trail. Back here at McKechnie Field, and there is Russell Martin behind the fence over near the Pirates clubhouse, and signing autographs for a lot of the Pirate fans. Russell Martin will be the starting catcher this year, and that leads us to our HH Sports Medicine injury update. He is scheduled to really get back behind the plate in a game tomorrow. He has DH'd recently, but hasn't caught in a game since scratched February 26th with that sore right shoulder. Injury update brought to you by our friends at Allegheny Sports Medicine, official medical provider of the Pirates. Russell Martin going to be just fine. And the new pitcher is the lefty Chris Johnson.
That's one thing I think that the longer spring training will help getting Russ Martin ready to go. As Johnson, tall lefty.
Chris Johnson, 28-year-old California native, signed as a minor league free agent before last season. Spent time with Altoona and AAA Indy, and He has impressed the Pirates.
He was drafted pretty high back in 2006, a sandwich pick, 40th overall
by the Red Sox. Chris Johnson. It's his third outing of the spring. 4 days ago against the Phillies, went 1 2/3, gave up a hit, no runs, a walk, struck out 3. Xavier Avery, center fielder for the Birds, struck out in the second against Kyle McPherson. Chris Johnson out of Wichita State. Two and two on Avery. Johnson 8-4, 3.19 ERA combined between AA Altoona and AAA Indy. Right there in the inside corner, striking out Avery. Follow the Pirates this spring and all season long with MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, and Android devices. At Bat delivers spring training wherever you are with scores, stats, searchable video, live audio, and much more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Pirates.com for details. You never know what you're going to see. McCutcheon, lower first camera, and Travis Snyder trying to help him out. Alexi Casilla has scored twice. This is Kutch Cam, and he's starting to figure that zoom out, staying focused. Two one on Casilla. Now batting from the right side, the switch hitting shortstop. Second baseman Walker goes on to Sanchez. Let's go back down to Robbie Inspakowski.
Well, Ryan Flaherty, guys, has a connection to one of the members of the Pirates. That's Pedro Alvarez, who was his college teammate for 3 seasons at Vanderbilt. And they still maintain a pretty close relationship. So close that he still lives with Pedro Alvarez and his wife, Kelly. Pedro and his wife, Kelly, house Ryan Flaherty during the offseason and also during spring training. So I'm sure these guys will have something to talk about tonight should they have a post-game meal back at Pedro's house. I don't know what room he has or if they have a guest house, but I'll try to do some investigative journalism, Greg, and see what I can find out for you, okay?
Good buddies. Thank you, Robbie. Yeah, Ryan Flaherty and Pedro Alvarez out of Vanderbilt. Broken bat, and look at this. Is Alvarez going to gun out his buddy? He is. Boy, Pedro putting on a defensive show.
That's one heck of a play.
Pedro Alvarez, a couple of sparkling defensive plays, and that one tops them all. The bare hand play to retire his friend, Ryan Flaherty. 4-2 Baltimore.
We are back here in Bradenton, Florida. I'm Robbie Mikowski. As action is going on the field, but I'm here on the boardwalk, part of the 19,000 square feet of boardwalk as part of the new renovations here at McKechnie Field, where fans now have a 360-degree view of the ballpark. You can take a walk all the way around right now, hang out here at the drink rails where many fans are having a good time right here. 42 palm trees behind me. They've been added. They're all out throughout the fan plaza, all throughout the boardwalk, and there's also a tiki bar, Greg and John. Now, this might be one of the distracting parts about it. 60 seats, but they're all taken right now as everybody is socializing and congregating. There are TVs back there. There are heaters back there, and this is a cool place to hang out. So for the crowd that wants to hang out, have a good time, and socialize during a ball game, this is the perfect spot here out in center field.
Something special. Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, Rock and I are well aware of that tiki bar out right center field. Thanks very much. We got an idea that the Pirates might think about adding a tiki bar a few years ago when some members of the front office, the brass, saw the new place in Clearwater for the Phillies. And they added that tiki bar.
You know, you talked about before the first renovation back in the late 80s, early 90s, you know, the playing surface, the facility's not great, but still, it's a great place to come, Bradenton, Florida. I mean, it's beautiful. Typically, it's a little warmer than it's been so far this spring, but you know, they just keep adding more and more reasons for folks to make the journey down here. And, man, it just keeps getting better and better.
Ray Sands, hard hit to right. Line drive. Caught by Dickerson.
Sands gets a fastball here, pretty good swing on it. And that's where he has a lot of power. He'll hit a lot of balls the other way. He tries to stay up the middle into the big gap, or as Clint Hurdle likes to call it, the big part of the field, the opposite gap. Unfortunately, the right fielder for the Birds, Dickerson, was playing deep. Had him placed perfectly.
Michael McHenry struck out looking in the second against Wei-Yin Chen and takes a strike. They did a great job of this ballpark. These renovations, $10 million. Pulled foul. The boys club. A lot of hard work went into these renovations, needless to say. Pirates are quite proud of it. Trevor Gooby, the director of Florida operations, very much involved. Dennis Dupre, executive VP and general manager of PNC Park and Facilities, oversaw the renovations. You know, Dennis's parents, John and Terry, are watching the game tonight. Dennis was down here earlier. A walkthrough once again today, make sure everything's in good working order. One ball, two strikes on McHenry. 2-2. 5 for 13 so far this spring. Facing Tommy Hunter. That's popped up. Third baseman Betamit. Puts it away for a 1-2-3, bottom of the fourth. 4-2 Baltimore here at McKechnie. 4-2 ball game. Get to downtown Bradenton. Take 64 west to the beaches. Tell you what, the beaches will start getting crowded as the weather really starts to warm up this weekend. Mike Zagurski takes over the non-roster invite. Zagurski, parts of 3 years with the Phillies, appeared in 45 games with the Diamondbacks last year, trying to win a job as a non-roster invite. And Robbie is now downstairs with our Cutch Cam man, Andrew McCutcheon.
I am. I stopped one of our cameramen, one of our random day hires that we have here. So the Cutch Cam, how do you assess your performance tonight?
You know, I got to give it an A- today. You know,
A-? Ow.
with it being my first day and all, you know, I'm a little drunk in TV production since high school. So, you know, I just had to rev the engine a little bit, get myself back into it. But I give it A-.
A-. That's you're a very generous grader. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I know there's always room for improvement, just like out there on the field. So, you know, you have your good days, bad days. But, you know, I'm going to show up tomorrow, do it all over again.
Do you really have a history in TV production?
Yeah, I actually do. I was actually a reporter. I was not a reporter, but I was a guy that stood up in the class when we'd go over, you know, every day at lunch and whatever. You know, I was a guy that talked. So, yeah, I got in front of the camera quite a bit.
Have you ever been behind the camera very much? How many times have you operated the camera before?
I've operated cameras a lot as well, all the way up through middle school and high school. I operated camera as well, so I have a little bit of experience there.
So let's put it this way. Had you not been a success in your baseball career, would you have looked at this, and what position do you think you would fit you well in the media?
You know, possibly your position.
As
you know, how are you doing today? First off, nice to meet you. Nice to see you. It's been a while. You know, how are things going today? You know, how do you assess tonight?
You know, it's great. I got Andrew McCutcheon to do an interview talking about operating the camera, so it was a great night.
Oh, that is great. That is awesome. You know, it's definitely been a good day out here tonight. You know, the weather's nice. You know, how do you feel? You know, just being out here. How's the ballpark looking?
The ballpark looks great. You know, it's spring training like it is for you. Just trying to work on my questions, trying to work on my walk around the boardwalk. It's, you know, little things we're trying to tweak before opening day.
All right, you know, that's all we need here. But I'm Andrew McCutcheon reporting here at.
John.
Oh, back to you, John. Andrew McCutcheon here, Root Sports. So thank you very much, and over and out. I'm out. See you later. Peace.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
We give him an A+ on that one.
A little shiny, though. A little shiny.
That needs the makeup. We'll get that on there. Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff, man. Great job, Robbie and Andrew. Now, I don't know whether he meant he's going to get back at the camera tomorrow or not on the field tomorrow. Assuming he'll play tomorrow against the Twins.
If he finds out there's another TV game, he might ask out.
That's right.
Well, that wouldn't be much fun for the folks back in Pittsburgh. I'm sure they'd rather see him patrolling center field.
Or the folks here at McKechnie.
Or the folks here at McKechnie, yeah.
At least the folks back in Pittsburgh got a chance to see Cutch Cam. You know?
Yep.
What a fun time it is, you know, to be an established big leaguer, to really enjoy spring training. As you can tell, he's enjoying his night off, right?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? And that's another thing, too. I don't know. Most teams have different roles as far as, you know, who comes to the games, who doesn't come to the games. I mean, the Orioles don't exactly have their regular lineup here. And I doubt very seriously many of their starters are here at the ballpark that aren't in the lineup. So, but it's nice to see a guy like Andrew and the year he had and the success he's had, that, you know, he's enjoying his time at the ballpark. I think it's one thing about him. He's fun. He's always loose, and you always see he's having a good time in the dugout. Obviously, he's all business when he's on the field, but
he enjoys life.
Absolutely.
You know? Pirates And they picked the right guy when they drafted in the first round a few years ago. They selected that young man out of Fort Pierce, Florida. Zagurski misses 2-2. Got him. A couple of Ks for Zagurski. We've got a full lineup for you tomorrow on Root Sports, starting with an all-new Inside Pirates Baseball Spring Training Special at noon. And then the Pirates and the Twins here at McKechnie Field, 12:30. And later we turn to the Pens to end the day as they take on the Maple Leafs starting at 6:30. Be here for a great day of Pittsburgh sports tomorrow at noon on Root Sports. Comeback win last night for the Pens. It's the Flyers. Ishikawa, 1 for 2, former Giant. Was with Milwaukee last year. Ball 1 and strike. Mike Zagurski, Omaha, Nebraska native. 30 years old.
I've always liked his arm. He came up with the Phillies. Aggressive with his fastball. He comes at hitters for the most part. You see there, Ishikawa, a little tardy on that offering.
Zagurski has had great success in his minor league career, not so much his time in the big leagues. Again, parts of 3 years with the Phillies. Came up to the Phils organization 2005, first year of pro ball after being drafted in the 12th round. Made it to the big league Phillies in 2007. 25 games out of the bullpen. 5.91 ERA 6 years ago. Missed all of 2008 after elbow surgery. And he strikes out the side. 2 swinging, or rather 2 looking and 1 swinging. We'll talk to Neil Huntington next. New pitcher for the Birds is Brian Mattis. We talked about him earlier, the left-hander. 6-10 last year, made 16 starts, 34 appearances, 4.87 ERA. He'll face Clint Barmas, and then top of the order, Starling Marte and Jose Tabata. And we're pleased to be joined by the GM, Neil Huntington, here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Neil, have to ask you this every year, how spring training is going. This is a different one, though, than you're used to.
It is. It's been a lot colder down here, although to complain about the cold in Florida compared to what we've got back in Pittsburgh is not a very smart thing to do. But it's been a good spring. There's a great amount of confidence in the air. We've got some young guys ready to step in and take that next step. We've got some veteran guys ready to help get us to where we're going, and some younger guys looking for their first opportunity.
Clint Barmas will lead things off. You're fairly confident that Jeff Carstens will be ready?
He threw 2 innings today in a sim game down at Pirate City. Threw the ball very, very well. It was like he hadn't missed any time. We'll give him a couple days, let him throw a side, and look to get him in game activity here sometime this coming week. But he felt good. He looked good. The ball came out of his hand very well, and we've got the extra time this year because of the World Baseball Classic. That's the one thing that comes out of it, and Jeff's going to be able to capitalize on that.
Gregor, Neil, sorry, I remember 3 or 4 years ago we were talking. I forget exactly where we were, and you were looking at opposing team lineup, and you were thinking, boy, how deep they were. When you come into spring training this year, you write down that lineup for the first time. Do you see a deeper lineup? Obviously, since you've come aboard, I mean, this is a pretty good-looking lineup.
Absolutely. We've got a chance to be a threat 1 through 8. Our guys are working hard to be a threat in the 9-hole every now and then, too, with the pitchers coming up. But we've got a chance to have some guys that are grinding out at bats, and we're going to get into bullpens earlier, chasing fewer pitches on call there with Clint. But you've seen it a little bit tonight. Marte going down 0-2, battling back and drawing a walk. Tabata getting the 3-2. Russ Martin's done a nice job so far. Gabby Sanchez with some professional at bats. Snyder's given us some professional at bats. Pedro jumping the fastball in early in the count, which is something he didn't do a lot of last year, jumping the fastball early in the count period. So, and the other nice part is we've got some competition, some guys that are fighting for jobs, but there's multiples behind them that can capitalize if somebody in front of them either goes down because of injury or can't get the job done.
Here is Marte with Tabata on deck. So early, Neil, a dozen games into it, but anybody pleasing you in particular? A few guys?
It is awfully early, Brownie. I mean, Jose Tabata's come in great shape, and looks like the fire's back and the smile is back, and so that's a great thing to see him smiling. Alex Presley's come in ready to win a job. Snyder's come in ready to hold the job. Marte's come in, continued to swing the bat from winter ball when he was so good. Gabby Sanchez is lighter, moving better, giving us some very good at-bats.
Marte with another hit on base all 3 times.
And on the pitching front, AJ's line doesn't show the quality of stuff that he's had so far this spring. He's in a very good spot. A couple guys out of the bullpen have come in. A couple of young guys, obviously Garrett Cole and Taillon have had some good getting their feet wet here in Major League Spring Training. I don't mean to rattle off the whole club, but there's some really good things going on, and we've got some guys that are in in a pinch and need to step up, and they've worked hard this offseason, and we're seeing some early results.
Here is Tabata.
As far as the makeup of the team, I mean, it looks pretty well set when you look at the lineup and in the rotation, with the exception of the 4th or 5th spot in rotation. The bullpen, maybe some question marks as the season approaches. A lot of roles out there to be won.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest competition. The 5th starter spot, a handful of guys there fighting for it. One of them, Kyle McPherson tonight. The corners, as we've said, Marte's got a pretty much of a stranglehold on that job. Travis Snyder, it's his job to keep as we came into spring training, and he's going to face some competition and has already. In the bullpen, you've got obviously Grilli will anchor it. Grilli will anchor it, and Jared Hughes and Waddy, based on what they did a year ago, and then Mark Melanson is a guy we believe is going to bounce back. But the 3 spots in front, ideally we can get 1 left-hander out of the group of left-handers that we've got. Maybe in a perfect world we get 2, and then you look for some guys that complement those other 5, whether it's length, whether it's a ground ball guy, a strikeout guy, mix and match, and the other part is, again, we've got a large number of guys competing for those spots.
And then there's plenty of time to determine yet that 5th starter, right, where you have to build up enough innings for him?
Absolutely, and the reality is whoever doesn't win that 5th starter spot will probably start for us in AAA and or will be a multi-inning reliever for us out of the bullpen. So we've got plenty of time to get a handful of those guys stretched out and ready to go.
And it's still pretty much McPherson and Locke.
Well, Jean-Marc Gomez has scuffled a little bit here early. Jonathan Sanchez is a guy that came into camp with the idea that he could compete for that spot. He struggled a little bit here early. Kyle's stuff was better than his line tonight. Jeff had the one rough outing, but he's had 2 pretty good ones. The nice part is you got Charlie Morton and Francisco Liriano waiting in the wings, and they are both making very quality progress. Charlie is throwing bullpens now, fastball changeup typically. And we're getting him almost to a point in time where he's ready to start an innings build-up, and we're still looking for him at some point, 2nd, 3rd month of the season. Liriano's break, the break in his arm is healing very, very well. He's going through his throwing program. He's got to recondition the right shoulder because of the heavy cast that he carried on it for so long, unfortunately. But he looks good. He's in great spirits, and Jose Contreras is a guy that we added late. Jose's actually looked great. Our guys have been very pleased with him. Again, coming off of Tommy John, we're talking 2nd, 3rd month of the season. But we've got some reinforcements coming, which is nice to have, as well as our own internal guys that we have right now to go with them.
You brought a couple of veteran guys in the camp, potential bench pieces. Do you think there's importance to have guys that have been around a while to take those important at-bats late in the game?
There is. I mean, Rock, whether it's the late at-bat, the knowledge of how to get ready, the knowledge of how to live with the ups and downs, the knowledge that they can pass along, the challenge is they still have to be able to play. We've had some veterans in here in the past that unfortunately just Tabby continue to swing the bat well. It's fun to see. Fun to see him run here, take a great turn and put pressure on defense. But, Rock, again, it comes back to can they help us? Can they still play? Because if they can play and they can share that knowledge and they can help our younger players grow, but they can also help Clint off a bench late, they absolutely bring value. And then that's with Brandon Inge and Brad Hopp. Can they still swing the bat well enough to help us off the bench? In Brandon's case, he can go play defense basically anywhere on the field, and we'd feel pretty good about it. But it is a matter of trying to get a feel for the bat. Health with Brandon Inge coming off off-season shoulder surgery first and foremost. Health with Jonathan Sanchez. He finished the year hurt last year, but they both appear healthy, and we're getting Brandon out and throwing, and he should be able to appear in some games here this weekend defensively.
Neil Walker with the Tabata on at first base. Blocked there by the catcher Gill.
And with Jose Tabata swinging the hot bat, I think that's his first single, by the way, is it not? The extra base power.
Doubles or homers, absolutely.
Did you notice last year teams just pounding him inside?
They did. And Jose's swing got longer last year. He got bigger, trying to do the right thing. He kept reading that he wasn't going to hit for enough home runs, and Jose wanted to hit with power. His swing got longer. His swing got slower, unfortunately. And they did. They just pounded the heck out of him in, and then he started to cheat in, and now he exposed the outer half away. He's back to that good hitter stance. We're working with him to understand that he can be a very productive major league player if he's a good hitter. He's going to grind out at bats. He's going to draw some walks. He's going to steal some bases, play quality defense on wherever corner he plays on. And that's a productive major league hitter, and that the power will come. He's got it. He shows it. He's hit some balls very, very far at times, but when he tries to hit a home run more often than not, he doesn't.
Neil, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you a lot this spring.
All right, Brian, look forward to it. Thanks, Rock.
Neil Huntington joining us here in the booth. We'll continue on to the 6th for Two Birds.
Pittsburgh Pirates spring training on Root Sports is brought to you by Barrel Automotive. We're driven to be better. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go, Bucks!
Back at McKechnie Field, the Orioles lead 4-2. On to the 6th. And look at folks enjoying the boardwalk. Chilly night. Expecting a great afternoon tomorrow here. We'll have it for you, the Pirates and the Twins at McKechnie as Brian Morris takes over. Following Cal McPherson, Chris Johnson, and Mike Zagurski. Morris appeared in 5 games with the Pirates last year. Just heard Neil Huntington, the Pirates general manager, talk about the jobs that are available, including the bullpen. No surprise that he said essentially, you know, you've got Tony Watson and Jared Hughes, the young guys, helping set up Jason Grilli and Mark Melanson they like. So that means 3 jobs available. He also said 1 lefty, or ideally 2 if you can. And if they get 2 lefties out of the guys that they have available, it means just 1 righty bullpen job is available. And here's one of those right-handers, Brian Morris, trying to wrestle that job away. Although he also said that something you and I have talked about, John, early on, that the loser of that 5th spot, he wouldn't name who, Locke or McPherson, has a chance to be maybe a bullpen guy for the Pirates.
Now, look it up. I'm pretty sure Locke hasn't pitched at all out of the bullpen.
Yeah, Locke would appear to be a guy they would want back at AAA to start every 5th day if he doesn't win this job, whereas McPherson would seem to be a natural to be a bullpen guy.
And he threw some out of the bullpen with the Bucks last year. But Locke, I would think if he doesn't make it, would I mean, it'd be a big adjustment for him, especially coming out of camp, to start throwing out of the bullpen for the first time in his career.
Bounce to second, backhanded nicely by Walker, and all in one motion throws a strike. Go back down to Robbie Innsmikowski.
Well, guys, Brian Morris has a unique history here in Bradenton. He made the first ever start in the history of the franchise, and yesterday I asked him about making that start.
It was actually kind of a cool experience being the first person to toe the rubber. Being in a new league, new team. It was a new journey. It was exciting to be the guy to be the first on the mound.
And that was a blowout win. They beat Fort Myers here. 18-3 was the final score. Here's the interesting part of the story is that he threw 4 2/3 innings and had to be pulled because of a pitch count. So he didn't end up winning the game. They had 10 runs by the time he exited the ball game. So somebody else came in, and a guy who threw 3 innings ended up getting he got the save, but somebody else came in and ended up getting the win in that ball game. So he didn't even get the win. He worked 4 2/3. So he has the distinction, at least, Greg, of saying that he threw out the first ever pitch in Marauders history back in April of 2010.
That's pretty cool. I wonder how many Marauders fans know the answer to that trivia question. That's a good one. Pirates taking over that franchise. 2010, the Bradenton Marauders, and Morris is the one player remaining from the blockbuster Jason Bay deal. Pirates, Dodgers, and Red Sox all involved in that trade. Manny Ramirez went from Boston to the Dodgers. Jason Bay went to Boston. The Pirates got Andy LaRoche, Brandon Moss, Craig Hansen, and Brian Morris in the deal.
I'll tell you, Morris has the stuff, the pitch late in the ball game. Maybe the best slider on the staff. I mean, his slider is some kind of nasty.
One hopper hit hard, handled again by Walker.
I think for Brian Morris, the consistency of throwing strikes, especially with the fastball. I know he pitched well last year as that fastball was hit hard and backs up Neal.
When John, in that regard, he took a huge step forward last year at AAA Indy.
Oh, yeah.
81 innings, 17 walks, 79 strikeouts. Former first-round pick of the Dodgers, Brian Morris.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Last year as well at Indianapolis, 81 innings out of the bullpen, 79 strikeouts.
His first full season at AAA. And the first time he had been used exclusively in relief. The Pirates decided to convert him to a full-time reliever last year. That process began in Altoona in 2011. Ray Searage and Jim Benedict. Searage, of course, the Pirates pitching coach. What a great job he has done. Jim Benedict, special assistant to the general manager. Works closely with Ray Searage. And got a lot of credit to Jim Benedict for helping Charlie Morton turn things around a couple years ago. Three and one on Jose Gil, the catcher. Fastball 93.
I've had some late life to it. Cutting away from the right-handed swinging Gil.
Weekly hit foul, stays 3-2.
By the way, I was wrong on Jeff Locke. He did throw. He had a couple of appearances out of the bullpen for the Pirates last year, although those were his only 2 appearances since way back in his early days in the low minors with the Braves back in 2008. He had 1 relief appearance.
I still think it would be an upset for a guy like Locke to wind up in the bullpen. Just knowing the way that Neil Huntington approaches things. Whereas McPherson would seem to be the more natural choice if he weren't the 5th starter to do work, long relief, spot start. A very important part of a bullpen mix is that guy that can eat up innings, spot start now and again. And that was the dilemma they were in with Jeff Karstens a couple of years ago. He was so good in that role. They almost didn't want to take him away from that and make him a starter. But he was too good as a starter. And nice work from Brian Morris. Strikes out Gil to end the top of the 6th inning. miss our final Pirates playback game of the season. We go back to the Pirates game against the St. Louis Cardinals on August 28, 2012. Pedro Alvarez's 2 home runs would help put the Pirates over the Cards and keep them alive in the wild card race. Pirates playback Monday at 7 on Root Sports. Flashback. Preview that game. The home run number 1, the bomb into the bullpen. And this one, the monster shot. Bounces onto the Riverwalk and toward the river. August 28, 2012. Enjoy that game on Monday night. As Alvarez takes ball 1. He has struck out and ripped a single to right field, bringing in a run, and he has played stellar defense.
2 great plays here tonight. Speaking of night, if we can get a little more consistency out of Pedro in night games,
yeah,
what he did in the day last year was just phenomenal, incredible.
18 home runs in day games.
And I don't think he had 180 at bats. I mean, he had a home run in just about every 10 at bats.
Most homers by a Pirates player in day games since Willie Stargell hit 19 in 1971. That's hit a long way to left toward the wall, over by the track, and a foul ball. Some changes for the Orioles we'll get to, but how about the defense that this guy played tonight, John?
Boy, a little check swing, and Pedro going into foul territory. Some 2 steps into foul territory here. A little swinging bunt against his buddy. Again, a barehanded play, off balance, and as strong an arm as any infielder in the major leagues. And he's remarkably accurate on the run with that arm.
Impressive. He's down on strikes. Well, defensively, the Orioles have made a bunch of changes. Fun part of spring training, the scramble. Lou Ford in left, Avery Estate in center, Russ Kanzler now in right. Steve Pearce over at first base. Look at second, Jamaico Navarro. Numan Romero is at short, Danny Valencia at third. Caleb Joseph does the catching. Buck Showalter making those changes. Orioles are 7-2 this spring. Vast majority of times the records of spring training do not reflect what happens in the regular season. The Royals are 11-1, by the way. Seattle 11-3. The Reds are 2-11. Sanchez, a drive toward the wall and left, and a hold up. And a sliding catch at the end there by Lou Ford. Hold a little bit.
Mattis could have given up 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Normal conditions here at McKechnie where the wind's blowing out the left. Pedro hit one that sliced foul, pushed by the wind, and right here, Gabby Sanchez
tripped over the grass, did Lou Ford.
Yeah. But those balls on typical days are out of the ballpark.
There's Brandon Inge, another player Neil Huntington talked about, that veteran presence. Can he get that swing back after the shoulder surgery? 1-1 on Inge. Left the Tigers last year after 15 seasons in the organization. Hooked up with Oakland. A's players will tell you he was a big part of their resurgence. 83 games last year, a dozen homers for Inge, 54 RBIs. Pirates pinch hitters batted just .176 last season with a total of 2 home runs. Full count on Brandon Inge, 35 years old. Very popular Tiger. Full count. Bucks will play the Tigers twice during the regular season. Home and home series. Fly ball to right. Hansler makes the catch. Pirates go down in order through 6, 4-2 Orioles. Amarillo, Texas. Vic Black led the Eastern League in appearances last year. A 1.65 ERA for the Altoona Curve. Struck out 85 batters in 60 innings.
You can see that. You hear triple digits from time to time out of Vic Black. One of those guys, those young arms. Neil Huntington has stockpiled. A guy that you expect to see at some point in time this year. With those types of numbers. That's a lot of strikeouts in 60 innings.
I have to believe that Vic Black starts at the AAA level this year, and maybe before too long is wearing a big league uniform. The hard-throwing right-hander, 6'4", 214 pounds. Vic Black, 96 at the start. Out of Dallas Baptist University. Black has thrown 2 innings. Last time out 4 days ago, a scoreless frame against the Phillies, and he faced these Orioles a week ago in Sarasota, a scoreless frame. Bucks have some changes defensively. Couldn't hold up. 3-1. 3-0 count.
You don't see that very often. The 9th hitter in the lineup goes up there swinging 3-0. Took a little off to go to 93. Yeah, that's the one thing you wonder if, without seeing a guy like that, the walks, the percentage isn't great. 29 walks and 60 innings pitched, and you wonder, how good the control is. I mean, is he not walking many batters because of the inexperience of the hitters at that level? The velocity guys start cheating, start their swings a little bit early, or is the command pretty good? I mean, it'll be interesting to see. But I'm sure with most young, hard throwers, that's usually the last thing to come is the good command.
And he walks Avery. So changes for the Pirates defensively. See that Clint Robinson has taken over at first. Anderson Hernandez is at second. Clint Barmas still at shortstop. Barmas going to get another at bat. Matt Haig at third. Felix P.A. in left. Darren Ford in center. And Jerry Sands also has one more at bat to get, as does Michael McHenry. Those 3 players due up in the bottom of the 7th. Ball 1 on Lou Ford. Orioles scoring a run in the first and 3 in the third. Cal McPherson giving up the 4 runs in 3 innings on 6 hits. Have him picked off. Pirates pitchers picked off a handful of players this spring at first base.
Quick move from Vic Black, easily getting Avery, and that's part of the process of holding runners is varying your times to the plate, varying how long you hold the ball before delivering it, varying the times you hold it before throwing over to first base.
Down the right, foul territory down the right field line. Clint Robinson over to take a look out of play.
As a base stealer, when you're over there taking your lead, I mean, you want a pattern. You want to see the pitcher get up there and have a 1 count, 2 count pitch, the same thing pitch after pitch. When the guys are up there and they're holding the ball a little bit longer, you get antsy, and that's what looked like it happened there with Avery. Black held it, a second or 2 longer. He got a little antsy, and Black with the quick feet caught him going the wrong way.
Hit hard to right. Sands. Watch this one sail out of here over the right field wall. A 1-1 pitch. Lou Ford homers. 5-2 Orioles lead. Well, the Orioles were second in the major leagues in home runs last year.
You got that good velocity from Vic Black. Lou Ford gets it up. Wind's helping a bit towards right field. Just had enough distance. That's the first ball that's gone into the Pirates bullpen this spring.
Can't say I've seen actually every inning here at McKechnie, so I'm not going to say. I've seen just about every inning. I've been just about to every game. That's a lie, John. Ground ball is short. Warmus.
Well, that's another nice thing. A nice addition for the relievers is, the room out there, the bullpen. There's places for those guys to sit. It's pretty common games here in spring training. You'd see 10 or 12 chairs lined up in fair territory against the right field wall, where guys would have to sit because there was no room to.
That's where they would sit, in that area where that gentleman is.
Pretty much.
Is that Lloyd Fate?
That's Lloyd.
It sure is. Loyal Lloyd Fate. Great Pirates fan for the Bradenton Boosters. Steve Pearce. Bounced around last year, the former Pirate. Well, just missed.
Yeah, as a hitter, you're not very comfortable after something like that happens. You go up there and you wonder if it just slipped out of his hand, or is this hard-throwing right-hander that wild?
Oh, knocked down by Anderson Hernandez. Does not stick in his glove, and he decides not to throw to first, so Steve Pearce gets a base hit.
Boy, what an effort. Anderson Hernandez, 2 steps and a dive, knocks it down. Not sure why he didn't throw it. Maybe he didn't have a good grip on it, but thought he still had a chance at Pearce after he picked the ball up.
Luis Exposito. His first at bat. So Victor Black walks Avery to start the inning, picks him off, then gave up the home run to Lou Ford. Ground out an infield hit. Faces Exposito. Black, we said, led the Eastern League in appearances last year. A league low 189 batting average against among all relief pitchers, and the highest strikeouts per 9 innings ratio among relievers.
There's the breaking ball. I was curious to see what kind of breaking ball he had. Kind of a slurve. And in between the slider and the curveball, 85 miles per hour.
Exposito with a runner at first and 1 out. Another run in. Home run by Lou Ford. Dallas Baptist University became the highest drafted player in the history of that school. And he walked Exposito, 2 aboard. And now Vic Black will face Russ Kanzler, new right fielder. Kent DeColvey and Ray Searage, Jim Benedict. Ray Searage checking. I'd like to see if he's ready. Buy some time now. Black has thrown a lot of pitches now. On a chilly night in Bradenton.
Kanzler is a PA guy. Berwick.
Ryan Reed loosening in the bullpen. So Kanzler, as John said, from Berwick, PA. Not too far from Wilkes-Barre.
He's been drafted by the Cubs. Played AAA for Cleveland Indians, Columbus, Ohio.
And he fouls it out of play. "5-2 Orioles as the Birds bat in the 7th. First meeting between these two clubs. It was scheduled February 26th, the only rainout so far this spring. The Orioles train now in nearby Sarasota. It's a short drive south of Bradenton.
They've always had the strange setup. Their minor leaguers were always in Sarasota, at least for last 25 years or so, while their big team trained in Fort Lauderdale.
Bounce to the right side. Robinson will keep it himself. Long inning for Vic Black, gives up a run. 5-2 Baltimore. Go to the bottom of the 7th. Let's go back out to Robbie.
I'm here with Brian Morris, Greg, who threw a very solid 6th inning out there for the Pirates. Brian, 1-2-3, struck out the last guy after 2 ground outs. What was your key on the mound tonight?
Trying to throw strikes. You know, last outing I had a couple walks, and tonight I did not want to have. I didn't want any walks tonight, so that was the main key for me, was to throw strikes. I didn't necessarily get ahead of every hitter, but you know, I made the pitches to get my ground balls.
You know, when you look around baseball, you look at the superstars. Spring training is clearly a time just to get work, and there's no question. But when you're a guy sometimes who may not be guaranteed a roster spot, what do outings like this do for you?
Well, it boosts confidence, you know, initially. But even though I'm competing for a job, I'm still getting ready for the season, because if I don't make the team, I'm still playing somewhere. So I use it to get, I still use it to get in shape just like everybody else. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I am competing for the job. My dream is to be in the big leagues, so that's what I'm going after.
You know, we told the story. It's a pretty cool one about you being the first ever pitcher in the first ever game in Bradenton Marauders history, but you had a very good offseason yourself. There was Brian Morris Day in your hometown of Tullahoma, Tennessee. What was that experience like where they retired your high school jersey?
That was an amazing night. You know, had a ceremony where they retired my jersey, my senior jersey. I'm very humbled for that night. It was it was unbelievable.
Did you do anything on Brian Morris Day?
I went to the ceremony and celebrated with my family. I didn't do a whole lot, so it was just a good night to be with the family and be with friends.
That's a cool story, Brian. We appreciate your time. Nice game tonight.
All right, thanks.
All right, guys.
Robbie, thanks to Brian Morris as Jerry Sands gets his third at bat. He has struck out and lined out. New pitcher Troy Patton. Oh, sorry. We were told it was supposed to be Patton. Yeah. It's Daniel Schlereth. Son of the former NFL offensive lineman, the former first-round pick of the Diamondbacks. Injury problems last season for him. L.J. Hose in center. And it's 2-1 on Sands. Sands and McHenry and Barmes will get their last at bats of the night.
Sands is an interesting guy facing here. Schlereth trying to bounce back from a year ago, but he's got some power. Looking for that opportunity to show that power at the big league level. Just sporadic time with the Dodgers.
Barrel of the bat sails toward third, and Valencia misplays it into left field.
Have to think that he had to barrel that bat in the corner of his eye. He saw it coming as well as the ball. And because it's pretty much a routine ground ball. He kind of almost ran by it. Just ate him up. You'll see it goes back to his right. So I'm thinking as he's going to his left, he's watching the barrel of that bat coming towards him.
McHenry has struck out and popped up. E5, third error for the Orioles. McHenry at .233 last year, a dozen homers for the Bucks. He's 5 for 14 this spring. Ready to begin his second full season with the Pirates. The Fort out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Some guys are just perfect fits, aren't they, John, in a role and on a team in a city? Michael McHenry is that perfect fit.
Yep, he's just going to work hard, go about his business, try to get better every day, whether he's in the lineup or not. And I also think it's key when you get a guy that is a backup, whatever position, it can come in if the starter's banged up or whatever the case may be, and can play 6, 8, 10 days in a row and pick up the slack. In Michael's case, quite honestly, played better than the starter a year ago. And it's such it adds so much value to the team, and that's another thing with this lineup we look at. We see there's depth on this team. If we lose guys in a number of different positions, we have very capable replacements for those guys.
And a nice stop this time for Valencia, and he throws to first base, and a pick on the other end by Steve Pearce. Robbing McHenry of a hit.
Wow, did he ever? That was a different player without the barrel of the bat going down that way. I mean, quickly to his right, and not only able to pick it, but up quickly. Looked like he threw that one hopper on purpose to Steve Pierce. A perfect hop over there to get McHenry by a half a step.
Excellent work by the third baseman, Danny Valencia. Here's Barmes. Shortstop coming on. Romero, no play. Infield hit for Barmes.
Sometimes better be lucky than good. That ball right off the end of the bat. A lot of spin, just dies out there.
First and third for Darren Ford, his first at bat. Starling Marte in this spot of the order was 2 for 2. A couple of base hits, couple of steals, couple of runs scored. Ford hitting .267 this spring, 4 for 15. Non-roster invite, Darren Ford. Daniel Schlereth, fourth pitcher to work. One ball, one strike on Darren Ford, 18th round pick of the Brewers in 2004. Traded to the Giants 4 years later. A deal that sent Ray Durham to Milwaukee. 33 big league games with the Giants in 2010, 2011. Darren Ford takes the strike. He played all of last year at AAA Tacoma in the Mariners organization and hit .273. Son of a big leaguer, Ted Ford, his dad, played with the Indians and Rangers in the early 70s. 2-2 on Darren Ford, with Sands at third, Barmes at first. Darren Ford, 27-year-old native of New Jersey. That's away and breaking for the plate. And scoring as the Schlereth can't handle the throw, and Sands coming across the plate. And Schlereth limping a bit. It's now a 5-3 game.
I'm not sure this ball even hit the dirt. Just probably a passed ball there. Just off the thumb of the glove. A bit of a pause by Jerry Sands, making this play very, very close.
Caleb Joseph has that ball come off his mitt for that pass ball, giving the Pirates another run, a chance to make it a one-run game. May not seem all that important in the larger scheme of things in terms of the win-loss, but for Darren Ford, these are the moments. The player trying to win a job, trying to impress, and even if he doesn't win the job, you figure he'll spend some time at AAA Indy, but definitely trying to impress. Schlereth gets him.
Well, that's the one thing as a minor league guy. I mean, you might have it's a long shot he makes the club, but you want to be remembered, you know, in case you need help from minor league.
Now's the best time to get your tickets to the biggest games of the year. Before they're gone, don't miss out on Sky Blast featuring neon trees, Andrew McCutcheon Awards bobblehead, fireworks nights, and more. Check out pirates.com/promotion for a full game and promotional schedule. Opening day, April the 1st against the Chicago Cubs. McKechnie night game record of 6,353 paid attendance here. We'll have fireworks after this game. Cool night in Bradenton. Felix PA takes ball one. PA has had an impressive camp. Former Oriole. Big league time with the Orioles 2009, 2010, and 2011. Breaking ball in the dirt. PA 5 out of 17 this spring with a home run.
Well, you certainly could see some raw talent out of PA. You know, can run, can throw. Looks like he handles the bat pretty well.
Three years ago, he hit for the cycle with the Orioles. Takes 3-0. Felix PA came to the big leagues with the Cubs. A couple of years in Chicago and then on to Baltimore. Last year he went to spring training with the Indians as a non-roster invite. PA takes a strike. He was released just before the season and signed on with an independent league team, the Camden River Sharks. Played 13 games in the Independent Atlantic League before the Atlanta Braves signed him. Played AAA ball at Gwinnett. Pop-up Schlereth makes the play. Pirates get 1 through 7. Trail 5-3 at McKechnie. The game in its entirety, Sunday Night Classics, We Are Family, March 17th at 7 on Root Sports. Great show they put together. You're going to love it. Highly recommend it. March 17th, the debut. Lots of different sports be featured throughout the summer, so catch the debut on March 17th.
It's Ryan Reed, a minor league free agent. The Pirates signed over the winter. He spent the last year AAA Durham for the Tampa Bay AAA club.
New shortstop Ivan De Jesus Jr. throws out Jamaico Navarro. A look at Ryan Reed's numbers.
About strikeout many. Throughout his career, the numbers are pretty much right around there. He's a 1 game over 500, a career 4 ERA. He strikes out 1 per inning.
Drafted in the 7th round by the Tampa Bay Rays. Romero takes strike 1. Newman Romero, first at bat. Ryan Reed, 27 years old, Portland, Maine native. Will get down, right center. Base hit for Romero. Andrew Lambeau is now playing right field. Aaron Ford cut the ball off.
Tied up a little bit.
Here's Caleb Joseph. Took over behind the plate a couple of innings back. Buck Showalter decided not to bring really any of his starters up other than Wilson Betamit. Matt Wieters, of course, the starting catcher. Chris Davis will be at first base. Brian Roberts seems healthy, the second baseman, hitting over 400 this spring. J.J. Hardy, Gold Glove shortstop. We talked about the rookie last year, Manny Machado at third. Adam Jones, Gold Glover in center. Nick Markakis figures to patrol right, and Nate McLeod maybe in a platoon situation with Nolan Reimold in left. What will that American League East look like this year? All the injury problems for the Yankees. Big trade the Blue Jays made with the Marlins. You never forget the Tampa Bay Rays. Don't discount them. Matt Haig will start an around the horn double play. 5-4-3. To the bottom of the 8th. 5-3 Baltimore. It was on this date in 1900. The National League met and voted to shrink the league to just 8 teams. So Baltimore, Cleveland, Washington, and Louisville were all bought out. And the Louisville owner, Barney Dreyfus, sent most of his players to the Pirates. He became the owner in Pittsburgh. Players like Hannes Wagner, Fred Clark, Deacon Philippe, Rube Waddell, Jack Chesbro, the backbone of the Pirates' first World Series team. Dreyfus bought the team and would own the club until 1932. And I think just about all but Rube Waddell are Hall of Famers. Thanks to Day Automotive, we're going to make your day, including the owner, Barney Dreyfus, for the Hall of Fame. Troy Patton is now the new pitcher for Baltimore.
That's pretty impressive.
Talking about the Blue Jays acquiring a bunch of players. How about acquiring all those guys?
Yeah. It's impressive for the crew in the truck to come up with a this day in Pirates history.
I know it.
On March 8th.
That is impressive. Anderson Hernandez, non-roster invite. It's a ball hard to third. Hustles down the line, but he is retired. Anderson Hernandez, the veteran switch hitter, now 5 for 12 this spring, as Valencia handled that. And here's now Matt Haig. He was the big story last spring. Clint Hurdle labeled him the hits collector. Made the club out of spring training. Haig 4 for 17 this spring. Hit 400 last March. Team high 7 home runs in spring training. He and the Braves, Freddie Freeman, and the Angels, Albert Pujols, the only other players in the big leagues with 7 spring training home runs. Haig played 30 games with the Pirates last year, hit .229. Spent most of the season at AAA Indy,
where he only hit 4 home runs. That's amazing.
Roller up the line. And on to first, and a safe call, an infield single.
Collecting another hit. Valencia, with a big grin on his face, for whatever reason, took his time throwing that ball across the diamond. And a couple crow hops.
Here's Clint Robinson. Clint Robinson is a member of the 40-man roster. 28 years old. The Pirates traded for him in November, along with pitcher Vin Mazzaro. He sent a couple of minor league pitchers, Luis Rico and Luis Santos, to the Royals to get Clint Robinson, who hit .292 at AAA Omaha last year, with 13 homers and 67 runs batted in, a 25th round pick of the Royals 6 years ago. "28 years old, from Jefferson City, Missouri. Three for 12 this spring, a .250 average. 6'5", 230. Pierce, second for 1. The first double play. Saw Steve Pierce make great defensive plays at first base before, and makes a good one there. 5-3 Orioles. this yard for the Bucks this spring. Orioles lead 5-3. Going to the 9th inning. And it'll be Eric Cordier on the mound for the Bucks. Another non-roster invite. Signed a minor league deal in November. Green Bay native. Was with the Braves organization. "17 combined games at AAA, AA in the Braves organization, Gwinnett, Mississippi, and also a time in the Gulf Coast League. Was rehabbing an injured right hand last year, is why he spent time in the Gulf Coast League. A determined young man, Eric Cordier, missed all of 2005 in the Royals organization after undergoing major knee surgery, and then missed all of 2007 after undergoing Tommy John and a base hit into center field for L.J. Hose. Let's go back downstairs to Robbie Innsmikowski.
Well, Greg, last inning you guys were talking a little Pirates history. How about we talk a little Bill McKechnie and his history? Who is Bill McKechnie? His nickname was the Deacon. He was born in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, and he passed away here in Bradenton, Florida. You see him with the 1940 Cincinnati Reds. He won a World Series with them, but he's the first manager ever to win the World Series with two different teams. He was the manager of the 1925 Pirates, and before that, he was a player with the Pirates in 4 different seasons, most notably from 1910 to 1912, and he made the Hall of Fame in 1962 as a inductee of the Veterans Committee. So nice history here, and nice to have his name on McKechnie Field, guys.
So appropriate. Thank you, Robbie. It really is, with Bill McKechnie having been a longtime resident, moving to Bradenton, and that's where this field got its name. Bill McKechnie, Hall of Famer. Lou Ford at the plate. Pirates have called McKechnie and Bradenton their spring training home since 1969. This stadium is 90 years old.
That's amazing.
Runner goes. Throw down by Carlos Paulino. Is that impressive? Whoa. Carlos Paulino.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Man.
That's a bazooka. And right on the money.
Wow, that is a howitzer.
How quickly he got rid of it as well, and then, the accuracy. Boom.
Folks have seen Carlos Paulino playing back-to-back years for the Bradenton Marauders. Bucks picked him up in a deal with the Florida Marlins before the 2011 campaign, sending Jim Negrich to the Fish to get Carlos Paulino.
How about he's fluent in 4 different languages?
Yeah, Spanish, English, French, and German. Carlos Paulino, not related to the former Pirate catcher Ronnie Paulino. And so Lou Ford, who homered his last time up, draws the walk here from Eric Cordier. And Danny Valencia will come to the plate. And a strike. Pirates and Orioles tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, the Twins will come to Bradenton. And look out.
Whoa. This one goes about,
oh man,
6 rows deep.
My goodness.
No way of explaining that.
It was Vic Black who threw one pitch back to the screen.
Yep.
Now Eric Cordier, pickoff try that's thrown 4 rows deep into the seats.
Got him.
And now look at that gun by Paulino. He almost did get him.
Good break from Ford at second base. As soon as he sees it's in the dirt, he takes off.
Ford into third with a wild pitch. Charge to Cordier. Cordier was a third-round pick of the Royals in 2004, and he is having all kinds of trouble now. Cordier becoming a little bit unglued here. (6-3).
You know, he walked Lou Ford, but it wasn't like he was missing by a whole lot. And now, ever since that throw into the seats, not close to the strike zone in his next 2 pitches.
An E1 and a wild pitch and a wild pitch. And Valencia actually went after that pitch.
Yeah, 3 straight in the dirt.
And that pitch was not close. Three and 2. What do you think of the Orioles this year, John? Are they going to?
Well, I'd
regress?
I'd like their chances. Again, the Yankees aren't as good as they were a year ago, at least on paper. Nor are the Red Sox. Obviously, Toronto's gotten better. Tampa Bay again. I mean, they've averaged 90 wins a year over the last 5 years. So,
my goodness,
another ball gets away from Paulino. Now, there's no reason for me to believe that they're not going to be in the thick of things. And I don't know if I was talking to you or somebody else the other day, but it wouldn't be a surprise to see the Red Sox and the Yankees looking up to a couple of teams this year.
We'll talk about the Blue Jays and, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays and these Orioles who went 93-69 last year. Their first winning season and postseason since 1997. But some point to a couple of statistics, and they claim that there's just no way to repeat things like a 29-9 record in 1-run games, which is the best winning percentage in the modern era. Just a +7 run differential.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher there. You don't find that very often. When you're that close to allowing as many runs as you scored, you're going to be a 500 team or so.
Ray Searage a visit to the mound.
But I mean, they've got legitimate talent, I think.
Well, you look at that lineup to talk about. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Up and down. Wieters, Hardy, Roberts, Machado. Adam Jones.
How about what we noticed before the game, their closer, Johnson?
Yeah.
He had more saves than strikeouts a year ago. 51
You ever heard
saves.
that before?
No. That's really bizarre.
Steve Pearce.
51 saves, 41 strikeouts.
Well, because of that, you know, most believe that you have to have a strikeout pitch, or at least rack up your fair share of strikeouts. Is that a little bit of a red flag?
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
Three and one on Steve Pearce. And he walked him. Cordier has given up the hit and walked three batters now. Ray Searage looks on. Here's Luis Exposito. Jim Johnson, the Orioles closer last year, 51 saves and 54 chances. An exaggerated cheer from the folks on hand remaining.
I figure this is Cordier's first action of the spring.
Two.
And there's always that one guy in the lineup. It seems like that you get a face a pitcher that's wild. He's all over the place. Then one guy in that lineup goes up there, and the same wild pitcher paints two pitches on you.
In the dirt. It's 2-2. Carlos Paulino scrambling again. Eric Cordier, the Green Bay, Wisconsin native, signed the minor league free agent deal November 20th. He was traded from Kansas City to Atlanta in 2007. There's a hit. Will not score a run. Valencia held at third with one away.
It would have been nice to get an inning-ending ground ball at an infielder, but wasn't hit all that hard. But you see the big hole on that left side.
So here's Russ Kanzler. Well, hit, a caught stealing. It's the only man that has been retired thanks to Carlos Paulino's throw. 3 straight walks and a hit. An Aaron Pickoff try, 2 wild pitches. And a pop up to right. Andrew Lambeau. There tags and goes a quarter of the way down the line. Lambeau fires the ball in. Now here's Yamaiko Navarro. Although the Orioles PR staff gave us a list of pronunciations, John, and according to them, he's now Yamaiko Navarro. We went through about 4 pronunciations with him, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Last year, he hit a $160 with the Pirates as Clint Hurdle tries to encourage Eric Cordy on a rough outing. He's reached a pitch limit. We'll go to a break. 6-3. Orioles lead it in the ninth. Baltimore leads it. Ninth inning. Here at McKechnie Field. Minor leaguer Nate Baker has to finish up here with the 2 outs. Nate Baker, Double-A Altoona last year.
Former 5th-round pick back in 2009. Signed by the younger Maz, Darren Mazeroski.
Mazeroski is still helping the Pirates. You look at some of the names that Darren Mazeroski has signed. Impressive list already. Kyle McPherson, Alex Presley, Phil Irwin, and Nate Baker. Bill Verdon, there's Maz. His son Darren Mazeroski, a Pirate scout and doing great work. Think about that. About a 4-year span. One scout bringing those guys to the big leagues and knocking on the door. A guy like Phil Irwin, and Nate Baker still maybe a ways away yet, but that's impressive stuff.
Yeah.
Baker out of the University of Mississippi. Yamaiko Navarro. Popped up to shallow right. Anderson Hernandez will make the catch. The Pirates' second baseman. Go to the bottom of the ninth here at McKechnie Field in Bradenton, Florida. 6-3 Orioles lead. 6-3 Orioles going to the bottom of the 9th inning. Kathy and Don Waite. Man, they've been great Pirate supporters over the years. No one more loyal than those two. Kathy Waite, husband Don, seated with the Pirates cap. Hope you'll stick around after the game. A lot in store for you. Rob King back in the studio. Ken Colby will join him. We'll talk to pitching coach Ray Searage. We'll join them for a time as well. Robbie will catch up with Pedro Alvarez. Much more to come following the game. Pirates post game coming up next. 6-3 Pirates trail it. Looking to rally here in the bottom of the 9th. Brandon Inge. He is 0 for 3. 3 hits in 15 spring training at bats for Brandon Inge. The lefty Troy Patton. Ball to strike on Inge. 35-year-old veteran.
Kind of a long night for Brandon Inge. I think this game started some 3 hours and 15 minutes ago, and waiting around for those at bats. Just his 4th at bat. Sure, in the American League, if you're DHing, you probably have access to a cage or somewhere to go and swing a bat, at least in between at bats, but not the case here.
Fly ball toward the corner. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. So Inge 0 for 4.
It's even more frustrating when you're just DHing. And it seemed like he waited about an hour for that 4th at bat. And you look forward to it. You get up there, you just miss it, hit a little off the end of the bat.
Andrew Lambeau, 250 hitter last year with Altoona. Pirates acquired him and James McDonald from the Dodgers for Octavio Dotel, former 4th round pick of the Dodgers. Two years ago, he played in 60 games at AAA, Indianapolis, and struggled. Made 184 at Indy, was sent back down to AA Altoona.
He was considered a pretty big prospect for the Dodgers, was he not?
Yes, he was. Top 10 prospect just before the trade. Pirates had high hopes for Lambeau. Part of that Dotel deal to Los Angeles.
Yeah, you wonder, of the 2 players we got, Pierce will take care of that. At the time, I wonder what you expected more from. Did you expect more from McDonald or more from Lambeau? Because obviously McDonald was a little further along than Lambeau, but Lambeau was a prized hitting prospect. He was in camp 2 years ago, was he? I'm pretty sure.
Yep. And now Carlos Paulino. Takes a ball. Carlos Paulino came on to catch. Paulino to short. And that does it. Rock, what'd you think of Kyle McPherson tonight?
Well, I like the stuff. I like the curveball, but obviously the location in that third inning did him in. But I still like the arm. I wouldn't think that he really hurt his chances. I mean, the stuff's still pretty solid. But I'm sure he'd like to have it back. That's I guess his worst outing of the spring. But I think he'll bounce back. I still think he's in the mix. Still got a lot of time here this spring.
He's probably the story along with Marte and Tabata tonight.
And McCutchen.
The Cutch cam was huge.
McCutchen was awesome with the camera. Pedro played the defensive star.
They'll talk a lot more about it coming up following the break on the post game. 6-3 final. The Orioles beat the Pirates in this Grapefruit League game, and we'll, of course, be back again tomorrow. But a lot more coming your way on the post game. Rob King will join you. Much, much more